Welcome to another episode of your new favorite podcast, the Jamal Bryant Let's Be Clear podcast, where we go straight down to business. No shades of gray. Today, I am so super excited to have not just an influencer, but an impactor for this generation. A lot of people are standing on business, but it's all show business and not real business. This amazing woman has pulled herself up by her own bootstraps and is now stepping with the big dogs. I'm glad to have my sister and my friend, Coach Stormy, with me on today. Welcome.
I am so excited to be here, and I want to be real clear with every question you ask me.
Oh,
so I'm going to take my time today.
All right. You are always clear. If not one of the most successful black women in your field. How hard is it to do business as a woman in the 21st century?
You know, it's challenging. It's challenging for many different reasons. The first reason I'll say is that, you know, it comes with a lot of responsibility. People think that it's just getting cute, taking the picture, putting a quote and putting a post on social media. But no, you have to learn how to think. Yeah. You got to learn how to be you got to learn how to be a chameleon and make a million. So you got to learn how to maneuver in different rooms. You know, you got to learn how to put on different hats, you know. And a lot of women think that you just got to be like one way. But I think that when you understand that you got to be multifaceted, you got to know how to be compassionate. Yeah. You got to learn how to have respect, integrity, character, honor. You got to learn how to communicate. You got to learn how to listen. And so it's not easy. It's not as easy as it looks. And then you got to learn how to constantly reinvent yourself to stay relevant. Right. Because you could be popping one year, one season, and then it's like, you know, they don't know you no more, you know. And that's, to me, that's what's the hardest, understanding the whole gamut of staying on top and being clear in your communication and knowing that it's not just about you. You know, as an entrepreneur, when I first started, it was about me. Everything was about, you know, how could I get this money? You know, as a single mom, 3 kids, 9th grade education, ex-stripper, ex-schemer, ex-scammer, XXX, all of that stuff, now exclamation point. I had to really realize that once I got out, I had to go help other people to get out. And I think that's one of the number one things that I do that keeps me on top, because I know it's just not about me.
MC Hammer said after he filed for bankruptcy, his biggest business mistake was trying to carry too many people to the top who were committed to the bottom. Wow. Having a pure heart, how difficult is it to say no? We've got so many athletes who go broke, so many entertainers who go broke, not because of spending habits, but because of the curse of compassion. Right. How do you get to a point where you're able to say no and still love them?
Well, I stand on business for real. Like, I don't loan money. I don't give money away. Like, I have a no loan policy. If you want to borrow money from me, it's like, what's your collateral? Is it worth more than what I'm giving you? So people don't really ask me for money. I've probably been done with that issue maybe like 2-3 years ago. Like, I give you opportunity. Like, I'm going to give you an opportunity. You want to ask me for money? Okay, well, sell this. Don't ask me for no money. The same thing I sell, you can sell it too. So why you ask me for money when I could give you the same opportunity? So I don't loan money. You can't borrow money from me. You know, either you work for me and get paid, or we do a business deal together. Right. Other than that, I don't really have that issue of people trying to borrow from me. I think pain is one of the most amazing connectors. And I don't have a problem with, you know, being transparent. Like I tell people, I take baths in Windex. And I think that there's not a lot of real transparent.
Wait a minute, say that again. I like that. Say that again. Yeah, you take baths in Windex.
So y'all could be see-through, you know. Wow. I don't have anything I'm ashamed of that I've ever done or ever experienced. As a matter of fact, the mere fact that I came out of, you know, being born to a drug dealing mom and a drug dealing dad. My whole family was drug dealers. All I saw was keys of cocaine at 7, 8 years old. Wow. My mom trafficked drugs. I used to know when she was going to traffic because she would tell me. And I was 8 years old, and I used to be praying, is my mom going to come back? Wow. You know, by the time I was 13, I was in a strip club, you know, to make money. At 13? At 13 years old. Imagine that. Yeah, at 13. Wow. My mom was in Jamaica. She couldn't come back home. The water got cut off. Her boyfriend was lazy and sorry. He didn't do nothing to go get no money. And I needed to figure out how to turn the water back on. So at 13 years old, I went and got me a fake ID and got some money and turned the water back on. So, you know, my life ain't been no crystal stair.
One of my mentors, Dr. George Frazier, said something to me that changed my life. He said, one of the things that we have to do as black people is stop thinking we can only do business that matches our passion. Our passion is for our hobby. You got to find what's going to make you money that can finance your passion.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you, how do you do business with something you don't enjoy? Is that possible? Is that
So
possible
I
to do
respect
that?
Mr. George Fraser.
Yes.
He's from Black Enterprise.
Yes.
I respect him, tremendously, immensely. But I also believe that you could find something that you like and make money from it.
Yes.
I'm not going to eat, at a Golden Corral anymore.
Right.
I'm going to eat here. And if you with me, we going to go to Roof Chris. If that's what, even though you probably could afford. So it's not hard to ride around in my Rolls Royce. Why not? So when you get money, you don't know who your friend is for real. You don't know who really loves you for real. People could pretend very well. I'm talking about they'll marry you and all.
Wow.
And you think they love you.
Wow.
Kind of find out they just, got other plans.
Wow.
So people could pretend to love you in business. They could pretend to
Yes.
love you as a friend. And that's one of the, I think, quiet pains amongst the rich and the successful. Do you really love me? And then, I think another issue is that when you start getting a lot of money, especially me, I remember being afraid of my money. Like you got $10 million in the bank and you used to be a scammer and it's only insured up to $250,000. You think about, what about the rest of the, 800, and 50 that's in there. You're like, oh my God, if anybody touch it.
Right.
So what if you had a problem because you had too much money? I didn't
Yeah.
graduate from high school. So all that, but you have to have a big old education.
Right.
There's a lot of smart, broke people. I'm just not one of them,
Right.
And
Right.
so, ninth grade education, I had my first son at 15 years old. He's 27 right now. I had my second child when I was 19. I met my baby daddy in the strip club. And when I had my daughter, I realized that if I keep doing what I'm doing, she may look at me as an example. And I didn't want my daughter to be inspired by no stripper.
Wow.
So I got out of the strip club mainly because I wanted to be an inspiration to my daughter.
Yeah.
But then I went to scamming because that was a little bit more discreet.
You're
You know what I
right,
mean?
you're
So I could get dressed up like I was going to work and I would assume identities and I was doing all kind of stuff, writing checks, cashing checks,
Yes.
going to Home Depot, Office Depot, all that. Like I did all of that. I used to shoplift
Yeah.
for food, for clothes, sell it for half price. Like I know the life. But the truth is, that was not going to be my destiny. I realized that I had so much more to live for, and I needed to go get better and go grow and get mentors and get coaches and read books. And I didn't have no role models growing up. I just had to figure it out by deciding that I wanted to be better than what my circumstances was.
Yeah. What would you say was the ugliest season of your life?
Oh my God. The ugliest season of my life was when my mom died. My mom died August 26th of 2011. I was holding her hand. I thought she was having an anxiety attack. But literally 3 minutes later, cold red, my mom was dead.
Wow.
And I thought I was strong. But you're not strong until you have to deal with the loss of a mom.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was in a world by myself. No matter how many friends and family members, or even if you got your dad,
Yeah.
when you lose your mom, that is the most emptiest feeling in the world. And so I fell into a really bad depression. I went from being this big millionaire on buses and billboards to overweight, 30 pounds overweight, to literally like one click away from applying for food stamps. And so that season I was depressed. I was suicidal. Like there were days I was going to kill myself. Like I literally was ready to take the pills, like ready to take my life.
I read a story some years ago, Stormy, where Oprah talks about how her best friend's Gayle King. And she gave Gayle King $1 million and says, we're best friends, we travel together, we hang together, but I don't want you to have to look at me shopping.
Wow.
I don't want you to look at what it is that I have. I'm giving you a seed plot. I
Wow.
want you to talk to me about how hard it is to have real friendships with other women who you don't have to mentor.
Wow, that's a deep question. I don't think I have. Well, I do. I have people that's in a higher place than I am. That I respect them and I honor them. But I don't really have a lot of friends. I have a lot of business partners. And
At 15 to now floating on water in a yacht.
ooh,
What was the moment where you redefined what money was for?
You know what? I think the moment that I really redefined money was when my mom died.
Yeah.
That was one experience because I realized how important I was to make the money. You know, a lot of people like to say like I'm a brand, right?
Yes.
And that's not true. Because if I was a brand, I could sell without being present.
Right.
The minute I pull away from my business,
Yes.
if I'm not present in my business, let's see how big of a brand I am.
Yeah.
Pull away from this church and see how big of a brand the church is.
Right.
I'm just saying. So personally, I really had to realize that money is a tool. Of course, at one minute I think that I could be this brand or this impactor, but then I realized, wait a minute, even though I've made millions of dollars in a month, I've had months where I've made $2-3 million in 1 month, but I had to kind of be the voice behind all of that. But being able to make money in your sleep, like passive income,
Yes.
that's been my reality for like the last 15 years. But I also had a job. I remember what it felt like to have to clock into work to make $13 an hour.
Right.
For the boss to say, hey, I'm going to give you a 25-cent raise. And really realize, hold on, wait a minute. Y'all giving me a 25-cent raise after I collected $1 million. I don't know if I told you that story.
No.
So I used to work for collections, and I collected over $1 million in closed accounts for the collection company in 7 months. And because of my performance, the boss was like, I'm going to give you a raise. At the time, my water was off again back home. My lights was about to be turned off. My car was in repossession status. So I'm thinking I'm about to get $5 raise, $6 raise.
Right.
I'm going to go from 15 an hour to 18, 19 an hour.
Right.
And they gave me a 25-cent raise, and they made a big deal out of that 25-cent raise. And I learned that my coworkers, the biggest raise they had given out in 15 years was 10 cents.
Ooh.
And so when I looked at that 25 cents, it made me want to explore other opportunities.
Was lecturing for some doctoral students a couple of weeks ago, and said to them, my last 2 years while I was pastoring in Baltimore, I was depressed. That
Dang, it's crazy.
people have to put into position because you don't see it visually. I was depressed, Stormy, with a growing church. I was depressed being on TV every week. I was depressed preaching all over the country. That there is something that people don't ever put together, that you can be successful and unhappy.
Yep.
And a lot of people say, oh man, if I could ever drive like that, ever live like that, ever shop like that, ever have access like that,
Yep.
I'd be the happiest person in the world.
Yep.
I want you to talk about how you've had to navigate when your emotions didn't match your exterior. That what you were feeling didn't look like what it looked like to everybody else, but you had to really coach Stormy, not be Coach Stormy, but you had to coach yourself out of that season of your own life.
Man, I mean, that happened a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's interesting because that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. How do you deal with when you're in a lull? How do you move forward? And I just kind of got out of something like that.
Yeah.
You know, you ever lose a friend or lose a relationship, and it's like you lost a family member, like they're
Yes.
really dead, especially when you know you can't go back.
Yes.
And so in this last season, you know, I lost a lot of people that I really loved. Like, I was like, wait a minute, I thought you loved me. I didn't know that you felt all of these crazy ways about me.
Right.
I thought I was pushing us to billions. I didn't know
Right.
you felt like I was treating you too aggressive or being a military sergeant.
Right.
So when I had to step away from those people because our visions didn't align, you know, I believe when our visions don't align, now is not the time. You know, when you create a certain level of business, or shall I say respect in the marketplace, you have a responsibility. Like, I can't just give up. I
Right.
can't just
That's
get
not
fat.
an option.
It's not.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I can't just shoot a video and say, hey, everybody, I'm depressed and I'm just going to take a break right now. It's like, hold on, wait a minute. What about all that stuff you taught us?
Right.
You know what I mean? So really, just recently, I just was going through something where I was dealing with a lot of losses of friendships.
Yeah.
Dealing with things with my kids. It's like, dang, how am I? I think I'm amazing. Like,
Yes,
I
you
really
are.
am. Thank you. I really am who I say I am. I'm not a fake. I'm not a fraud. I don't pretend. I don't manipulate and connive, and I don't do that. Like, I'm really a woman of respect, integrity, character, honor, and
Yes.
that spells RICH, by the way. That's an acronym.
Say it again. Somebody
respect.
got to write that down.
This is how I believe I stay rich.
Yes.
I live a life on respect, integrity, character, and honor. just recently I was losing a lot of relationships, and I'm like, wait a minute, dang, like it's not easy to move forward when you saw yourself dying with a friend.
Wow.
Like your soulmate,
Yeah.
your friend's soulmate.
Yes.
And so after dealing with all of that, like you start to question yourself, like, dang, but I thought I was so great. But why do I think I'm so great, but these people don't think I'm so great?
Yeah.
And so that season made me very insecure within myself. That season made me say, well, wait a minute, how is all of this happening? But then I had to realize that, you know, even Jesus had a Judas, you know?
Yeah.
And so I accept it now. I really
Yeah.
accept it as every time I go through relationship hurt, I elevate. Every time I think
Wow.
that there's something that's happening and I'm like questioning myself, I learn from it. I ask myself, okay, what could I have done better? What did I do to create this deficit? What did I do to create this disrespect or this unappreciation?
Right.
And when I get those answers, I work on myself. You know, faith come by hearing, hearing by the word.
Right.
I'm deep in my word. I don't necessarily go to church every Sunday, to be honest with you, because I don't let anybody speak to me. Anybody don't have what I need.
Right.
I need a certain cadence, a certain posture, a certain confidence, a certain result.
Yes.
I can't just listen to anybody. I don't care if you could preach me into heaven.
Right.
If I don't see and feel that you got it. So I had to learn how to use my own tools, all my affirmations, my mantras, all my meditations and my prayers and my incantations and all that stuff and all the things I teach people to do. Just recently, I had to really get focused on using it for myself.
Right.
Letting my team know, I'm talking about my employees, like, hey, listen, hey, Vanessa, I need a little time. I need to be home. I need to be reading my Bible. I need to be in my books. I need to be listening to my audio books. I don't really need to be taking certain calls. Let me work on me. And then I also went in a new environment.
Right.
You know, sometimes we don't realize that the blessing is in a certain environment.
There's a book called From Good to Great.
I know about that book.
And that the opening chapter, he says, the enemy of greatness is goodness.
Exactly.
That you become so good at something that you don't think great is an option. How do you stop from becoming complacent?
So you talk about, so good is the enemy of great, right?
Yes.
How do I stop from being complacent? Because I know that success is rented. It's not permanent. And that's one of the misconceptions that I think we all, especially successful entrepreneurs, got to live with. Like, you can't get complacent because, you know, you got a new outfit that came out. You thought you got the hottest Rolls Royce and they changed the body on you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, you got to know that that's how you got to think. And if
Right.
I get complacent, what about the people? It's not just about me.
Yeah.
You know, success is not about how successful you are, but how you help other people to achieve success.
Right.
So I'm in a space now in my life where it's not about money, even though money, I measure money. Like if I'm
Right.
working with you where we can't get no money together, I'm gonna have to figure out how to move you into the system.
I saw the shift in you when you started the 1,000 families.
Yes.
It says, okay, this is a whole nother mindset, a whole nother perspective. I want you to talk about 1,000 families, how you got to it and what it is.
So I'll tell you how I got to it. So I lose my mom. I had already made millions of dollars, so I was already this big millionaire. I'm on buses and billboards, and everybody know my name. You
Right.
know, I'm the hot girl. I got the Bentley. I'm that girl. You know,
Right.
and then I looked up and I started to go broke. And when I went broke, I was like, wait a minute, how did this happen? I was in a 3.5-year depression. Like 3.5 year, and you know, birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
So all my friends was broke and depressed too.
Right.
So I didn't realize what I was dealing with until I woke up. And the truth is, I got to tell you, the truth is, I had to figure things out. And I remember going to God, praying to God and saying, God, if you help me, just help me. If you help me, I'll help the people. Because I didn't have nobody to come help me. Like, nobody came and was like, we see you going broke, we're going to give you a hand up. And so I promised God, like, if you help me to become successful again, I'm going to remember the people that remind me of who I am or who I used to be.
Right.
And so I used to have a goal of helping 50 families make $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
Then after I saw that I did it, Because again, when you start to see success, you start to believe that, hold on, wait a minute. If I could do this, then maybe I can help somebody else do this.
Right.
And so once I started to see myself come back from depression, like when you come back from something,
Oh, yeah.
that's when you know how strong you really are.
Yeah.
All right. You got people that they commit suicide from things. You got people that they had a season of success, you know. But when you come back from something that could have destroyed you, you develop a different level of dignity about yourself, a different level of certainty about yourself, a different level of pride.
There are a whole lot of people, particularly in the pandemic, who really got another focus to say, wow, they see me as a non-essential worker.
Wow.
They giving me 25 cents promotion. This ain't where I want to go. So the pandemic birthed the greatest amount of entrepreneurs in 50 years for black people.
Wow, I know that.
And so a whole lot of people are saying, you know what, I want to work for myself. I want to be on my own. They got an idea, but they don't know how to get started. People are saying, you know what, I want to work for myself. I want to be on my own. They got an idea, but they don't know how to get started. I want you to just in generality, I guess everybody's path is different, journey is different. But there's somebody who's listening and saying, you know what, I got this concept. What's the very first thing you would tell them to do?
The first thing I tell them to do is make sure that the concept really works. And make sure it ain't just something that you like. That's like grandma could cook a good cake. That don't mean grandma could open up a cake company.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So make sure that more than you like the concept.
Yeah.
So be willing to sample it out, give it away, you know, sow seeds. And then normally nothing is new. Everything somebody else tried it or did it before. Find you a coach or a mentor. That is one of the biggest, I believe, misconceptions, especially in the black community, that we just go to school. First of all, you go to school, get loans, then get a job to go pay the
off
loans.
the loans. Right.
No, I dropped out of school in the 9th grade. And I'm not telling people to drop out of school, don't go to school. But that is, to me, unfortunately, one of the biggest misconceptions. You need a mentor.
Yeah.
A mentor or a coach is the shortcut to success.
Wow.
Find somebody that's doing what you want to do, or find somebody that has the life that you desire. Because, again, that's why I can't get into certain churches and certain things with people, because if you don't have what I'm looking for, I'm not listening to you, because I look for who already has what I'm looking for. I look for who already has what I want.
Right.
And I become a student. And there's 3 things I've learned. You either serve your way into good relationships, you pay your way, or you earn your way. And so if you can
You
find...
going too fast, Stormy. They in the car trying to write this down. Get them 3 things
so,
again,
so
please.
mentorship, right?
Yes.
People would say I can't afford it, right? First of all, a real mentor.
No, give me them 3 things.
I'm gonna give you that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you
that.
that. So a real mentor is not gonna charge.
Wow.
And I'm not saying it's something wrong with people charging for courses and all that. No.
Right.
But when you get a mentor, someone that has a vested interest in your success,
Yes.
either it's because they want your story, they believe in you. There's 3 things you got to do when you find that person. When you've aligned with that person, you're like, oh, she is it. He is it. Now, of course, we got YouTube University.
Right.
That's different. But when you find that person, there's 3 things you got to do to get access to them. You serve your way into their life. Find a way that you can serve them. Successful people need help.
Yes.
They need somebody to do something. Trust me.
Yes.
There's something you can do for them.
Yes.
You earn your way, which is you do something and you get their attention, or you pay your way.
Yeah.
So you know what? You can't teach me how to get this money. Let me hold her bags. Let me help her with her kids. Let me help wash. I used to wash the dishes and everything. So first I served my way.
Yeah.
First I served my way. Then
That's
she
great.
started looking for me. She needed my help. She realized that, hold on, this lady was holding my bags and I don't have nobody anymore. She realized that I was helping her kids with the homework. So I earned my way in her life.
I love it.
You understand?
Yeah.
I earned my way. Now I'm helping her kids get A's in the report card. I'm carrying her bags. I'm helping her drive. So
Yes.
I'm earning it now. Then I started to rank up in the company because I was in proximity to her. So I was learning so much, right?
Yeah.
And then she started to have courses. And I'm making money from her. So now I could afford to pay my way to learn a deeper level of her information, her mindset, her training, because now I'm paying. We don't understand that in the black community.
No,
and I think if
absolutely.
we understood that, especially if we are entrepreneurs,
Yes.
because any business could work for a season. Try different things until you discover what is it that you like, because a lot of people don't even know what they like.
Yeah. Big Small said more money, more problems.
More money, more
Yeah.
problems.
So what do you think is the greatest problem with being wealthy that people who are poor don't understand?
Ooh, what is the greatest problem with being wealthy that the people poor? I would say, you think money buys happiness. When you don't have no money, you be like, boy, if I had money, and don't get it twisted, right? I've been rich and I've been poor, and I like being rich better. And I would speak right now, I would never be broke another day in my life. But money does not buy you happiness. It's a part of it. It's a down payment. Once you get money, you start realizing that your health is important.
Yeah.
Your mindset. The enemy tries to torment your mind, and so you have to figure out ways to keep your mind sound and sane. And you hang around people, and you don't know who's really your friend because you got money. Of course, you're my friend. You attract a lot of people that got great ideas when you got a lot of money. And you don't know who idea is real. It's scary having money, even relationship-wise.
Yeah.
You don't know if somebody dating you because they like you or dating you because they want what you got in your pocketbook.
Right.
It's not easy being successful and having money and trying to identify if the love is real.
No, that's powerful. What is the greatest thing broke Stormy